Is there a way that the weather could impact any other cold weather Super Bowls? Let's say it's bad.
Yeah, I think the NFL is going to keep rolling the dice unless and until there's a blizzard or a polar vortex. Isn't it funny how we hear these new weather terms every year or two that must have been around for decades, and we've never heard them before. I've never heard of a polar vortex until last week. But if there's something really bad, a really bad outcome, then they just won't go back to a cold weather city open air, but they'll keep doing it until there's something like that. I mean, they haven't gone back to Atlanta in 15 years since the ice storm. Dallas is having a hard time, I think, getting another Super Bowl because of the ice storm there. But as long as it works, they'll keep doing it. And if it works in New Jersey, you unlock a whole new universe of cities that are going to start competing for the Super Bowl. Chicago, Denver,
Wait,
Washington.
but Mike, it's not Dallas's fault they had crappy weather.
Oh, I know, but it's their fault that they had no plan in place to deal with it.
That's true.
The plan was go hide under the bed and wait for it to melt.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta with that ice storm as well. That was a disaster. And it's really how I think what did Dallas have, like one snow truck or something
Yeah.
back then? But I can see I'm okay with a cold weather Super Bowl. I'm fine with it. But I'm not playing in it, and I'm not going to the game to watch it. So I didn't know if there could be a fallout that could mean we'll never do this again, or it could be if it's sort of good and sort of inclement, then we'll say yes, we loved it, and they're getting people talking about it. It's not just the matchup; it's going to be you're talking about everything from start to finish, to the halftime show, to the weather, quarterbacks, coaches, all of that. And I think the NFL has to eat this up.
Remember when the Eagles-Vikings game was moved 2 nights from our air on Sunday night because of the blizzard that came? That was after they'd picked New Jersey for this Super Bowl, and I asked the NFL, are you now having second thoughts about playing a Super Bowl outdoors in February in New Jersey? And the quote back to me was, we are the ultimate reality show. They love this. They love the coverage. They love the discussion. And look how cold it was in Green Bay 10 days ago. No one's saying, I'm never going back to another cold weather game at Lambeau Field. They'll fill the stadium wherever the Super Bowl is, and 150 million people will watch it, and it'll continue to be the biggest sporting event in the United States.
But part of the problem with this is that you don't have the diehards. If I'm in Green Bay shows up. But if I'm at the Meadowlands and you have San Francisco against Denver, how many of their fans, A, can get there, B, can afford the tickets? Therefore, you get people who aren't invested in these teams. You'll put up with a lot of nonsense. If your team's there, you'll stay through thick and thin. You'll fight the traffic. You'll sit in the weather. Problem is, you got a lot of spoiled people who have the money to be able to get these tickets, but they don't have the involvement, the investment, the loyalty in those teams to stay there. They're the ones that are going to be complaining. If Green Bay was here and their fans came in, they wouldn't complain about the weather. It's the people who aren't these fans of these teams, because the fans can't get tickets.
And you know what? You raise a great point. Will the NFL care if there are 20,000 no-shows as long as people have paid for the tickets? Because you will have people who say, I'm just not going.
Yeah.
I'll go next year. I can afford to go whenever I want to go. I'll go next year instead when it's in Arizona. Will the NFL care if there are empty seats as long as those tickets are bought and paid for?
Thank you, Mike.
All right, see you, buddy.
Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com.